Welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Anime. I'm one of your hosts, Zane Reed, aka Zane Taichou, captain when it comes to anime recommendations. As always, I'm joined by my besto friend, Susu Day. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, good.
Did something quite enjoyable yesterday, so still kind of savoring the leftover hype from that. So
top stuff. First of all, audio listeners, there's an elephant in the room to address. I'm kind of doing a Toji cosplay right now. I've got a Nana knitted sweatshirt on. I've let the hair down, so it's constantly in my eyes. You
look like also a member of My Chemical Romance. Now, the parting that you just gave yourself.
Yeah. I've no doubt, like throughout this episode, I'll slowly like look more and more emo.
Just do me a favor, like take your hands like this. Take your hands like this.
Like this.
Put it around the mic like that, and then get in real close to it, but look it up towards the camera. Yeah. Welcome to the Black Parade, my friends.
Who decided that? A little Escanor. I've grown my mustache out a bit and the beard because I'm going through my winter arc.
Yeah.
And it's Movember as well. So if you're doing Movember, let us know. But I started to twirl it a little bit, give it that Escanor.
I feel like I need to get involved now. So, mine's not quite as thick at the end, so I can still get a pretty decent curl.
Little flick. Yeah.
We're going to have to rename the podcast at this point. Everyone is Escanor Podcasts.
So yeah, if you're doing Movember, and we'll leave a link in the description down below. For those who aren't aware, Movember is where it's to donate towards men's health charities. So a lot of people sponsor. They will grow out a full mustache, which is always fun to see as well. And it's always a great time of year to find out if you can actually rock a mustache like Tom Selleck.
It's especially fun though when like you've already got a mustache, because everyone's like, oh, are you doing the thing? And like no, this is just my face. This is what my face looks like. I'll donate some money, but it's like I just always have a mustache.
Just let it grow out a little bit.
It's not a phase, man. It's not a phase.
Welcome to the podcast. If this is your first time, this is where we love to talk about anime, rants, reviews, all the cool stuff. If you enjoy it, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, leave us a star review. It'll help us out in a big bad way. And if you happen to have checked out the Jujutsu Kaisen execution, Shibuya Instant X, the Culling Games. So I'm going to get that wrong every time. Let us know in the comments. From what I've read, the rollout for this is interesting because we watched this on release weekend at the time recording, which is available in the UK. I was just having a quick look on Letterboxd. Just to give you a quick rundown, November the 7th, it came out in Japan. 13th of November, it came out in other countries. 14th of November, it came out here in the UK and Spain. But the US won't get this till the 5th of December.
Tariffs.
Also,
they gotta get the movie through the tariffs.
Yeah. Also, just to add a little crinkle in that, from what I've seen this weekend, it's only the sub version that's available. So I wonder, December, the dub version will also be available, as well as the IMAX version, because currently the IMAX version isn't available here in the UK, from what I've seen.
That's fair. Like, I would, honestly, having seen it, would have loved to have seen it in IMAX. But if you wanna cover the content, sometimes you can't wait, can you? You got to just get out there.
Also, to avoid spoilers and leaks and things of that nature, sometimes it's better to see it on opening weekend. Plus, I love JJK, so I would have seen it in line. I'm kind of on the precipice of, will I watch it in December again in my IMAX? Would you see it again in IMAX?
Oh, if I had a bit of disposable income, I might. But again, like in January, we're already gonna be watching it again in some form, because that's when the series will release, and it's unclear at the moment how much of what we saw in Execution will be, and how it will be spread across the first couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Like, will it be a single episode, or will it be like 2 or 3? It's kind of like, okay, when do I actually? I'm gonna watch, but it's like, when would someone who doesn't want to like just see repeats like have to start watching from if they've seen Execution?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll run down everything and give you the details. The way we're going to break up this episode, we're going to do non-spoilers, then we'll have a break, and then we will go into the spoiler territory. So be sure we'll try and cover all bases as possible. There was something else I was going to add as well. What was I going to add? I was going to add housekeeping. Previous episode, we talked about Chainsaw Man, so be sure to check out that episode where I gave a review. Other housekeeping. So we love to talk about Tron. Like, we talked about Tron like 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, it keeps
back to
happening.
back.
It keeps happening.
I had an idea. Like, I'm pretty sure I've come up with a phase Kevin Feige style Tron plan if it was an anime. So I'm thinking maybe a future episode we'll do it.
We should. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. I don't. I don't ever really remember how much I love something until it becomes like back into like the mainstream, and then I'm like, oh, actually, Tron as a franchise, love it. Hate how they keep mishandling it, but love Tron.
Yeah.
Like top 5 Tron, Tron Legacy, Tron 1, Kingdom Hearts 2.
The Tron list goes on. But also I think next episode we should probably cover Star Wars Visions. I know that's something that's been on our back books for a little while now.
Absolutely, and I've heard some great stuff. So
yeah, be sure to subscribe, like, for all of that, because we'll be covering that in future episodes. Let's talk about Jujutsu Kaisen Execution. I think that's probably the easiest way to call it.
Culling Games.
The Culling Games. So, to try and keep this non-spoiler, first part of this was a supercut episode, shall we say?
Yeah.
Of the Shibuya Arc.
And boy, was it a supercut. Boy, it was... honestly, it really gave well put together AMV like vibes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I think did we decide that is the start of the episode less spoiler heavy because it is basically all content that has been shown over a year ago at this point?
I think we're safe to talk about Shibuya Arc.
Yeah. So it basically starts with Gojo entering Shibuya, a supercut of like Gojo's like fight in the underground against curses, and then him doing his domain expansion, obviously culminating in him being trapped in the prison realm by Geto. At which point Gojo is obviously sealed, and that's when it really becomes AMV, because it starts doing like a whole summary. It shows the veil coming down, it shows the Jujutsu sorcerers entering the veil, and it starts playing "You Are My Special." It starts playing the opening, and basically the entire supercut is played over the ending the opening and ending sequences.
Yes.
And it's basically, they basically condensed all the best bits of the fights with every single traumatic thing that happens to Yuji in season 2.
Yeah. So just on that subject, it plays the events out in sequence order as well. So you see like the Mei fight, again, supercut. You see Megamaru on Yuji's ear to tell him that Gojo has been sealed.
You see the fight between Fushiguro, Yuji, and that sorcerer who's like, you've got to hit him really lightly to do a lot of attack.
Yeah, if anything, it's an amazing reminder of like how many fights are in the Shibuya arc, and even then they completely cut out the grasshopper fight.
Yeah,
you got to see. So this is one of my only gripes with it as well, is that they skipped my favorite part, which is Toji coming out.
With
the narrator
in the domain expansion.
Yeah, of Drago, the water curse.
Yeah.
The octopus curse, whatever. So yeah, they completely cut that bit out, but you got to see Toji just throw hands. And something else I guess is worth warning as well is that there's no ghosting or any dimming in the animation. So this is like a straight clean cut of like Gojo going insane and Toji throwing hands and stuff. So I guess it's worth pointing out in case you are maybe epileptic or anything.
Yeah, it was very, very flashy, especially when you get into Maharaga being summoned, and then you start seeing the fight between him and Sukuna, because they don't even show the full fight of that, because they only showed bits. They only showed bits of it, but like they showed the best bits, and you're getting all of the in between frames and everything. It was so good to see on that big screen, especially overlaid to that music.
Yeah, it was amazing. The only annoying thing, again, something that I was kind of like, oh, are they going to do it, is where Sukuna screams like, "You can see it, Maharaga." That bit's cut. But again, it's a super cut. So you still get to see the part where Sukuna fights Jogon.
Yeah.
The volcano man.
Yeah. And he's it's great stuff. It was just good to see it all again played out so quick, because like with all anime, when you're watching it episodically, you get like bits and bobs. So it's great to just see it all in one sequence of like 3.5 to 4 minutes.
Yeah. I guess that's the reason why as well, right? Like, it's kind of like, here's the footnotes for Shibuya Arc, because a lot of this is going to be teeing up Culling Games.
Yeah. And it's like, it's very much like, I guess if you've not seen it and you're planning on going to see it, I think it's very clear to say that this isn't supposed to be, I don't think that this was ever intended to be like an entry level place for someone to jump in to the series. This is very much like, this is a cinematic event for people who are already invested in JJK. Less so, because I've seen some reviews from some like some publications in the UK which have said it was like, it looked great, but like a lot of it didn't make any sense. And we got a lot of those reviews with like with Infinity Castle Part 1 as well, where people were like, it's a visual spectacle, it looks amazing, but it doesn't make any sense. And it's like, you've clearly sent the person who doesn't know like the series to go and watch it. It's like,
yeah, I guess, yeah. No, that's a good point. And again, for those that are watching and listening, just to kind of give you an idea of what this isn't the same as Chainsaw Man Reze arc, where it is an arc condensed into a movie, or like the Mugen Train. This is more like a TV special. It's
like when they showed Demon Slayer, but they did the last 2 episodes of the Entertainment District into the Swordsmith arc.
Yeah, they called it the Road to the Swordsmith arc.
Yeah.
So it's the sort of transition episode, transition TV special.
But that said, not disappointing at all. Like it was very much the way that it was cut. The way that they cut the Shibuya arc into it was very cinematic. It felt very deliberate. It didn't feel like it was done lazily. I think that the only issue I had was like when we got into, obviously, I think the opening of the Shibuya arc was played over the fight up until Sukuna relinquishes control and lets Yuji come back to it. Just a highlight, just to circle back, the movie actually opens with the scene after Yuji gets control of his body back, and it's the bit where he's like kind of punching and scraping the ground until his fingers are bloody. That's when it cuts into like Gojo and everything he's got going on. But yeah, that song ends when that happens, and then we get some like he does the whole like, no, I need to make up for all of this murder by continuing to kill curses. And then he obviously goes down, and that's when we see the fight between the injured Nanami and all of the transfigured humans, ending in him being checkmated by Mahito. We see Yuji's trauma there. We see him. We see that whole fight play out. Honestly, so good to see all that again, because Mahito and Yuji as a combo, like as a rival pair, has been so good to watch. We obviously see Nobara get pulled in, and she has her great moments, and then obviously ends with her being struck down, and then trauma thrice.
Yeah, something I really liked about this special is it really again highlights the trauma, as you say. So Yuji seeing Nanami getting taken out, of course he's already lost Gojo, but he doesn't see it, sort of thing. It's kind of like he's running to help that. There's some good parts as well. Like you could have easily cut out the part where he sees Izumaki. Is it Izumaki? The guy with the curse voice. Yeah. They could have easily cut that out, but they still kind of shed a light on it, which was pretty cool. I
think that they needed to just remind us that he was there based on some of the stuff that happens
Yuta.
with. I mean, actually, to be fair, this happens in the Shibuya arc at the very end, where Yuta's being talked to by the Council of Elders, let's say, and he's like obviously being angry boy, and he's like saying, Inumaki lost his arm. But if you didn't remember that he was there, because he didn't actually play like a hugely active role, because he was like doing crowd control on the surface, wasn't he? Yeah.
So it is good to kind of again telegraph all of these like emotional beats for Yuji as well, because even the Choso fight, again, it's super cut, so you don't get like the full experience of that fight on the big screen. But by the end of it, you're like, oh, I understand that Choso's in this dilemma now, because he figures that Yuji's his brother. And then that moment circles back round towards the end where he stands off against Kinjaku. The point I was originally making, the Nanami part, I was kind of like, they're not really going to make us sit through his whole like dreamscape of retiring and stuff, and they really did just play out the whole thing, and I was like, oh, I didn't need this again.
No, he's like I think he's such a beloved character. I think that they obviously knew that they can't just cut it apart, because the people who love Nanami, like, and they just wanted him to be happy, and he obviously didn't get to be happy. He had to serve as another speed bump in Yuji's fast track towards being the most traumatized he could possibly be.
Yeah, they even put that those couple of frames of Nanami grabbing that baddie by the ponytail.
Yeah, and
I was like,
to be fair, there was a very visceral like reaction in the theater when that happened. I heard so many like giggles and people turning to their friends and like
so yeah, they definitely played all the beats there. We had
we had the
I was going to say Nabura's.
Yeah, Nobura's fight and
Nabura's
demise.
fight, yeah, it was good. Yeah.
It was very short, but like it was short in the arc anyway. Just like it wasn't like drawn out over several episodes.
It felt sudden, but that's kind of part of the trauma, right?
Yeah, because I think we were seeing things from they were trying to show things from Yuji's kind of like timeline.
Yeah.
And stuff. Because again, like Yuji's voice actor said prior to the movie coming out, is like every single moment in the earlier movie is just pain for Yuji. But then obviously we get Todo coming out, and we get all of Todo's best bits. I wouldn't even say it's a gripe, but I know why they did it, because they're obviously just trying to use all of like the resources that they had from the TV release. But it kind of felt to me like the ending sequence theme being played over the whole stuff with Todo and Mahito and stuff like that was like, it felt a bit weirdly paced. Like it didn't like take away from it, but I was like, I'm just like so used to hearing like hype music playing, so hearing something a little bit more subdued was a bit odd.
It's an odd. I can see why that they chose it, because it is the moment that Yuji's at his lowest, and Todo gives him that pep talk about moving forward, and of course reflecting on those that have passed, sort of thing, right? And again, moving forward. So I get the sentiment of the song, but then when it does the whole like 3-panel segment of like Mahito, Todo, and Yuji, when that part is like one of the most electrifying moments, not only in the anime but in the manga as well. It's kind of like, oh, would it really needed the doon 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 subtle music? So yeah, I agree. I don't know if it's the right choice at the right time. It works enough. It works enough, but I guess that's on reflection.
But ultimately, the first part winds down with obviously the confrontation with Geto, learning his true motives, learning what he was planned. We unfortunately did not get that amazing scene of Yuji pursuing Mahito through the snow like a wolf, which I hope we get. But you know, I understand why they did it. Obviously, the snow curse was there, or the ice curse was there to freeze everyone. He activated the idle transfiguration on Tokyo, and I mean, it really just plays out from that point, like it did in the anime, where it kind of like shows shows what happens afterwards. It shows the scene with the little girl in the convenience store being saved by Yuta. It shows Yuta before the council. I keep calling them the council like they're Jedi. But before the elders, and they're saying, "Oh, hey, like Yuji is to be, you've been chosen as Yuji's executioner," and he's like really angry because of Inumaki having lost his arm. And then obviously we have the great bit, which is like it shows the black screens, and it's like that the council has made like 4 decisions. Like Geto is alive, and his death sentence is now reinstated. Gojo has been sealed, but he's been acknowledged as an accomplice to the Shibuya incident. Yuji Itadori's execution hasn't been put back on track, and Yuta has been selected as his executioner.
Yeah,
and then we just go into it.
I think the headmaster had also been sentenced to death as well
for instigating Geto and Gojo.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that I guess that's the summary of like season 2, or at least the latter part of season 2.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Shibuya Supercut. It was good. One other moment I really liked is it showed Gojo in the prison well, and he's like, "Well, this is this is a bad turn of events," but there's people I trust, and it constantly like cut in between the action, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think that is what
thought it was pretty cool.
I thought it, because the way that they framed that is that was actually when the music started. Was it showed him in the prison realm talking about like how he's got people he can now count on, and that's when it started with the "You are my special," and it started showing the like Jujutsu sorcerers like going through the barrier into Shibuya, which was like really cool. But yeah, there's not really too much to say about it. I thought it was very, very well done. They chose all the bits that are necessary to just kind of like catch you up real quick about exactly how crap everything is right now.
Before we go into spoilers, top thoughts on, let's say, the whole thing as a bundle. Did you think this was... I know you've already said like this isn't something for new watchers and stuff, but do you think as a whole this is worth its ticket price? Would you recommend this to people and stuff?
I absolutely would, because again, I think it was like this wasn't a situation like we saw with Demon Slayer, whereas they're literally just showing the 2 last episodes, arguably 2 of the hypest episodes in like Demon Slayer. They had basically, this was a proper summary of a whole arc. I felt, again, probably not. It's not. I don't think that there was ever a second where this was meant to be considered as a good entry point for people. This was definitely something I felt was done for people who were invested. But I think it was well worth its ticket price. I was actually very surprised. I don't know if you noticed in the theater how many people showed up late. And I get the feeling that was strategic. Like they were like, "Oh well, we don't need to see this bit. We're here to see the latter part of the movie."
Ooh, that's an idea. I don't know, because a part of me is like, again, Shibuya is one of my favorite arcs because it is just fighting nonstop, and of course the Toji, the Maharaga fight, blah 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 blah. So the opportunity to see that on big screen, I don't know if I would be like so casual about missing that, and again, not knowing the way that they'll cut that sequence of events, because like you said at the top of it starts with Yuji crying, so you don't know what way they're going to chop it up and deliver it, so I don't know if I would be so casual about it, but there's people who are like that. I mean, one friend said to me that they're not in a rush to go and see this because the Culling game wasn't exactly huge for them, so they're willing to wait for it to come to stream in first, which I thought was interesting as well. So I think, overall, I'd be interested to see how it does numbers wise. Like if the super fans do carry this into one of the top movie box office things for November, December.
Yeah, it's a complicated one, I think, because again, I think there's a lot of like different intent with it. I think that it wasn't. I think that the mindset was like, this is a good way to just go for it, you know. So but yeah, I think it was well worth the ticket price.
I think this is undisputed altogether. Again, before going into spoilers, Culling Games has some incredible animation, really like spectacles in there, amazing sequences that I know I shouldn't be surprised because it's Mappa and everything else, but they really, I hate to think at the pace those workers had to work, but
they're going to work those workers until they die.
The direction in this was so good as well. Like when they needed a scene to pause and hold and just let the space talk, they really did. The retroscoping elements of it as well. It is phenomenal. So yeah, that's without going into spoilers. That's what I would say. One last thing I'd probably worth mentioning as well, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, Yuta's design, and I've seen some conversation about this online, is that Yuta's design slightly shifts, especially the Yuta design that we got in Zero is different from what we get in Culling Games. And again, part of me would like to think it's intentional, because it's kind of like, A, he's older, B, he's not so much the main character. But then I've seen arguments that his design at the end of the Shibuya arc is still slightly different to the opening for Culling Games. And I think that might be the executioner spot he's in. Do you see what I'm laying down?
I see what you're laying down. To be fair, I hadn't seen any of the discussion about this. It's not something that I even really noticed, because I do generally think that, like, I'm following the same thought as you. Is like what the user we saw in Zero wasn't like fully actualized Yuta. He didn't have like an actual full understanding of his curse technique. He was still kind of in that state of like, I'm only here to save, like to sort this whole thing with Rika out. Obviously a year, like he's now a second year and stuff, so time has passed, and he's now more confident in himself and stuff, and you definitely see the difference between him in Zero and now, because he's obviously like traveled, he's been out there doing stuff, he's now like kind of fully accepted his power and his strength. So maybe I don't. I guess it's one of those things I wasn't thinking about. I wasn't like picking it apart in the same way as people online apparently.
I'll give you the tea. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
We'll definitely go through it. I hate looking at my hair like this, by the way. It is like annoying me so much.
every time you change where your fringe is, I want to make a comment about like a pop culture reference about someone or another and stuff. There was one section where you looked like a millennial dad.
Wow. Yeah.
Like.
I don't know if I need like curtains like Keanu, just like have a Keanu curtain thing going on. I don't know.
I mean,
to be fair,
honestly, it really highlights like just how you are not like all the other guys, and you're.
I guess I am definitely built different. That I'll say for definite. Okay. Should we do an ad break and then go into spoilers?
We should do.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Here is a word from this week's sponsor. Undisputed Anime has a dream of becoming the #1 podcast in the world when it comes to anime. But we need your help. That's why this episode is brought to you by you. We need you to like, subscribe, leave a comment, things that you love about the podcast, which you hate about the podcast, things you'd love us to review, watch, review, talk about, all those wonderful things. We want your support. To do that, we want you to be part of the podcast. So be sure to leave a comment, read them out on the show, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. All the relevant links will be in the description. And if you listen to this on your favorite podcast platform, again, feel free to leave a star rating and a comment on what you'd like to see from the podcast. It truly means the world to us that you have supported us this far. We're looking to pierce the heavens and make sure our drill is the one to do it. So be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down and below. Even an emoji, we'll read those too. Welcome back. Spoilers. This also has a weird opening cut.
That does. However, I would argue that this opening cut was incredible. And I would argue at the top of part 2 here that we literally see the most goated version of Yuji possible.
I like the jacket. I really like the jacket.
Yeah, it's like, I think the way I thought that it was just going to cut straight from that bit at the end of season 2 where he's on the bridge, he claps his hands and then curses attack, but it actually starts. So I'm having a bit of trouble with the continuity. Do we go straight into the Zenin stuff at the start, or do we go into straight into Yuji first? I'm pretty sure we go into Yuji first.
So we go into Yuji,
and he's
being
washing his
chased
hands,
by like, yeah.
washing the blood off his hands because he's obviously been like slaying.
Yeah. What was really cool about that animation part as well, they did like a micro shot of like the grooves in his fingertips that had the blood as well that he was washing out, and it constantly like cut between it, which I thought was a real artistic choice. Do you know what I mean?
So we had him washing his hands, then it showed him in that office block, and there's the giant hand, and he's just like got his eye, he's just like doing this and listening. And then he opens his eyes, and then he turns and he starts running away. He jumps from the building. Like, all of these little flying curses like start pursuing him. This giant flying curse starts pursuing him. We basically just see him like parkouring and like through.
It was real Spider-Man moment for me. Because it's kind of like because he jumps out of the building with I feel like there was a bit of a sunset, and then all the curses that were bat-like that was sleeping on the side of the building flock her off. And then, like you said, he starts doing parkour from building top through buildings and stuff,
like,
which was
crashing
really cool.
through windows. Like, he jumped down that big drop, and I was like, there's no way he's going all the way to the ground level, but he does. He grabs hold of the cable, and he swings and he goes through another window and stuff. It's like very Mirror's Edge, isn't it? It's like, it was very, very cool. We see him just getting pursued by all these curses. We see him like, basically we see this curse get him like and like fly really high up into the sky, and then it starts to fall, and then the curse falls through the building. It shows, then it cuts to Yuji on the ground, and the first shot you see of him is he's obviously holding the tip of a blaze from stabbing him, and then it pulls back, and you're like, oh, Yuta's here, and there's no words being said, and then it cuts to another scene where we go to the Zenin clan.
Before that, it's so, like you said, the giant curse, which was like colossal size. It was giving me like Shadow of Colossus, because it grabbed Yuji. It was flying through, like you say, the buildings, and it flew up into the air. And then it just kind of goes down, like you say, and crash into a building. And in my head, I was like, oh, Yuji's taking it out. But I guess it kind of leads to the thought that Yuta not only took it out, but took it out to get to Yuji.
Yeah, he wasn't even thinking about the curse. He was just like...
So then it cuts to, like you say, and it holds it for quite some time. So you just hear, like, both of them, like, panting. Like, both of them, like, they've both been running. And it has this beautiful mural in the background of, like, an autumn, like, bonsai tree. And then it just, like, showers with, like, cursed blood. Like, purple blood.
The blood.
Because it cuts to, like, the title, which is, like, Culling Games.
Yes,
that's, and then
when
it cuts away.
The title.
And it just goes like, and you're like, whoa, this is like Kill Bill levels of cinematography.
Like, there was like, it was silent, wasn't it? Like, it was just that silence, which was so like impactful in that moment. And then after the titles roll, is that when we cut it away to a different time, a different place, and we're basically seeing Naoya Zenin, and he's basically complaining about everything. And he's
talking his shit.
He's going to meet his uncles because his father is in critical condition after being like cooked alive. He's obviously talking shit about like Maki and her sister. Talking about how Mai's only redeeming quality is that she understands how to look after a man, and then she's like, oh, she looks just like Maki, but she's got a better rack and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a great way to kind of introduce this character. It's like, if you didn't know who this character is, and his intentions, and what he's about. Here's the footnotes. And then, he enters the room and just, like, disrespects his uncles. Like,
and then basically we get the announcement that his father's died. He comes out. This guy comes out. He reads the will. He basically says that Naoya will be the head of the Zenin clan, until Fushiguro Megumi is found, and at the moment he's looking for Yuji. And basically he's just got this mindset of like, okay, I'm gonna go and kill Itadori Yuji. I'm gonna go and kill Sukuna's vessel so that I can find Megumi. And then when I found Megumi, I'm basically gonna make him hand over like succession to me.
Yeah. It's weird as well. In that one scene, Toji gets named like 3 times.
I love how many times Toji gets mentioned, and I love how every time he's mentioned, everyone kind of like twitches. Like for some reason, like that, everyone's like, "Don't say that name." It's like,
this is the reason he's the curse of the Zenin clan. So really, there was I guess not so much a info dump, but it's interesting stuff because they talk about the cursed tools that they all have. That he's inherited the cursed tools. They, like you said, talk about Fujiguro Megumi. There was something else they mentioned as well.
They basically said, I think that they basically put it that that Naoya got the clan leadership to position, but his uncles got ownership of all of the cursed tools in the Zenin bolts, and if Naoya wants to make use of any of them, it has to be done so pending the approval of his uncles.
Oh, I just remembered. Naoya mentions his older brothers, but that they're too dumb to be
the head of the clan.
The head. That's why he's in the position he's in.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Considering how much that plays a part in the Chozo fight.
Absolutely, really triggers Choso. But moving on from there, we obviously, I think that's when we cut to the bit where where Yuji is back on the bridge, and he does the hand clap. He does that like absolutely insane like vertical run up the bridge as the bridge is collapsing, and he basically is like proper slaying out like all these curses. You see him like one punch man in all these giant curses into like explosions of blood, and then he's being chased by like several dozen smaller curses down a highway, like at top speed, and then he obviously gets into the tunnel, and then he calls out to Choso, and Choso does his like blood piercing art and stuff like that, and he kills all of the curses in one go. But that's when Naoya shows up shortly after.
Remind me, is there a cut in between the action where Yuji and Choso have a conversation? And Yuji says, "We have to take out as many curses as we can."
Yeah, I think that's his whole thing. He's he's developed this mentality of like, because of the crimes he perceives that he's committed, as when Sukuna was in control of his body, that he can't go back to Jujutsu High now because he hurt too many people. But he's like, even in this situation, there is still good that I can do, and the more curses that I kill, the less can hurt regular people. So I think that's his whole thing. He's just like going around. Like we see that great scene of him. Like he's obviously, I think it's just after he's washed his hands in that opening scene where he's walking down the corridor and he basically picks up like the energy bar and he's basically eating this very quick energy bar before he then goes to continue slaying. It's like he's just got this like home base and he's literally just like going wild. You've got like that lovely. Sorry, go on.
I didn't even see it as a home base. I just saw it as like Yuji is just constantly moving, like, and like you say, just on this warpath. Almost, I guess it's a guilt-fueled warpath, like you say, because he's got all this trauma, blaming himself on the Shibuya incident altogether. But yeah, it's I perceived it that he's constantly moving, never stopping.
Yeah, I felt like based on something that Choso said, that they've got several places they consider like a safe spot, because before later fight happens, he's like, flee now and meet me at the safe spot, meet us at the place we stayed the other day and stuff like that. So I get the feeling they've got like several places throughout the city that they've been like lying low. But jumping back to the continuity, like Naoya shows up and he's like, okay, I'm here to kill like Sakuda's vessel, and Choso's like, no. And
didn't he say, I'm here for Megumi, but he's not here yet?
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna subdue you guys. But then like he that's when we get this like really cool short scene where we obviously get to see Naoya's like curse technique, which is like basically his father's curse technique, like the one. I can't remember what
frames per second.
Yeah, the frames per second curse technique, and he's like absolutely dunking on Yuji and Chozo, and we see that incredibly. As much as I hate him, you cannot dispute the aura that he emitted in that moment where he's basically like punching the shit out of Chozo, but he stops, he looks away, and he runs his hands through the hair,
sweeping hair movement. Yeah. It's the Chozo beatdown. It was on Gojo versus Miguel levels in Zero, where he's just like pummel him into a wall, and you're just like,
yeah. And then we have this
let the man breathe.
Then we just have this great moment where all of a sudden the fighting stops because there's this like pulse of power, and it's very like shonen title, isn't it? Where it's like someone with a strong power shows up and everyone can feel it, like they can feel the pressure of it. And Yuta is there on top of the building, just looking down, like cold as hell.
I like the interpretation of the spiritual pressure. Like it showed like this weird sort of like pink, like effect that went across the area, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because Yuta's cursed energy has been shown to have like this pink hue, and it is like he's got such a colossal amount of cursed energy that it like viscerally like affected everything. He shows up. Obviously, he doesn't know who Naoya is, or he acts like he doesn't know who he is. They make a deal of like, okay, you take care of like Chozo, and I'm here to kill Itadori Yuji. Naoya's trying to like make a deal with him, like, hey, please don't kill him just yet. I need him for something. And then two great fights like kick off. We got the fight with Yuta and Yuji, which then actually cuts back into the earlier scene with the giant curse. We see the continuation of that fight. Yuji is struggling because he's always been taught like to predict people's moves by where they gather cursed energy before an attack. But Yuta is constantly just exerting the cursed energy everywhere, and it's even said in that moment that like even Yuta says, "I'm the weaker of us two," and stuff like that. And Yuji's all of a sudden like, "Oh, this guy's weak, but he's got so much cursed energy that any attacks I do to him are mitigated." And every attack he does to me, like anything, is fatal, like a fatal hit.
Yeah. That was crazy. It's I always find it interesting as well because it's Yuta was the main character in Zero, in Gege's mind at one point, and now Yuji is, and I kind of always like, how is that? What does a fight look like between the two main characters? What is, what separates these two, sort of thing? So I was definitely hyped for it. I feel like it delivered in the fight.
I do.
Like you say, it really shows their differences. But yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Because that's what we were seeing. We were basically seeing these two like prodigal characters that have been raised by Gojo. They were both in the same position. Like they were both sentenced to death by like Jujutsu Society, and Gojo stuck his neck out for them, and like kind of addressed it. But just seeing the parallels between them was just so good, because we obviously see a flashback to Gojo teach it, like where he's telling Yuji about people who use tools to channel cursed energy, when obviously he told him that that's obviously a bad idea because you end up relying on the tool too much. But then obviously we know that that's how he taught Yuta. He's like, you need to channel, you need to use it through the tool, because otherwise you're a liability.
I like the way they introduced Rika as well, where Yuji's like, I can't move. And then you slowly see the
arms
unveil of Rika.
Like the hand comes down, doesn't it?
Slowly hugging him from the back.
Yeah,
and the hood comes up from Rika as well.
And I really like the effect that they used, because they didn't use this in Zero. I really liked how they basically showed it as like the surrounding area surrounding Rika had like reality had cracked, and she was just coming out of like this crack in reality. and stuff, and she's like holding him still. And Yusa's had his sword broken at this point by Yuji, and he basically is like, we're just playing Rika, we're just playing. And then because he obviously he doesn't want Rika, because obviously this isn't the true Rika, it's just like a cursed manifestation of her now. But he obviously doesn't want Rika to go think they're fighting and to just kill him outright, because he's obviously got his plan, which is stabbing Yuji in the heart. cut back to the Chozo fight.
The Chozo fight was really outstanding, because not only are you animating a speedster, and that I thought they did that amazingly, like where Naoe's just constantly in and out of visuals, if you know what I mean. It looks like he's like blink movement sort of stuff. So I thought that was really cool. But the way that they kind of made it feel more even, where Chozo has like his plan, I was like, wow, like I didn't see this come in.
Yeah, it was so good, because I think that the reason that the fight was so good, but I think that there was an air of superiority from Naoya, because Naoya's like, I'm faster than anything you can manage. And he honestly, he wails on Chozo through this whole fight, but he doesn't realize that Chozo is a cursed death painting. He doesn't realize that he's part curse. So he's fighting him like he's fighting a human. And he obviously does that thing where he's like, I can see that you use blood manipulation. Don't know how you can use it, but I'm good. And he stabs him, because he's like, oh, if I know that you can stop that, but now you're going to have to focus on that and fighting me.
Stopping it. Yeah.
But then he obviously doesn't take into account that, like, as what Chozo is, he can convert cursed energy into blood, so he can really die from blood loss. And that ended up being his downfall in the end.
Because there's that amazing scene where he just floods the underground tunnel of just like blood and cursed energy, and now he's like kind of running for his life.
Yeah, he's like, what is happening right now? This isn't possible.
Where's he getting all this blood from?
And then even then he thought he got the upper hand back, didn't he? Because he came back, after that was done, he was like, okay, I've survived this. And then he's like, oh, the cursed blood user is using the blood to kind of coagulate and slow my movement, but that's not an issue for me. And Chozo does the thing like he's going to do convergence again, and he's like, oh, I can get, this is no issue, because even with this restriction, I can still get to him and kill him before he kills me. And then he's obviously making the attack forward, and Chozo's like, no. I've actually got another technique that I've been working on, and he obviously just does this like massive blood explosion thing, doesn't he? And now you're just on the ground, like fighting for his life until Yuta just shows up and literally backhands Chozo. And he's like, ends the fight immediately. But now you're like, like, oh, okay, like I'm fine now. But then he starts vomiting blood. And he's like, oh, this blood is bad for me, and it's in me, and it's gonna kill me.
Yeah, it's in me, and it's doing me worse.
Yeah.
I kind of like the little deal that Yuta makes, because it kind of flips the beginning. Yeah. If you know what I mean, like now he's trying to make a deal with Yuta, and now Yuta's the one making the deal, where he tells him, go back, tell them I've taken out Yuji, and I'll use my reverse curse technique to heal you. Yeah. So I kind of like that.
And then we cut to in front of a fire. In front of a campfire. Yuji wakes up. Yuta's sitting there. We see Yuta looking all cold as hell still. And then Yuji's on guard, and we see our boy come back, and we see Yuta drop the axe. And I was talking to Akira in the car on the way back. I was like, I loved this so much, because if you've read, you know what's going to happen. But it's like seeing Yuta so cold is really jarring, because we know what kind of character he actually is. So the moment that he like kind of drops that demeanor, and he's like, oh, thank God it works. It's like, because we obviously go on to learn that and in the moment that he had basically formed a pact with the elders, that unless he kills Yuji, he'll obviously die himself. So he had to kill Yuji in order to break out that pact. But as soon as Yuji's heart stopped, he used reverse curse technique on him to bring him back because he knew that because of Sukuna, because he's Sukuna's vessel, he could probably manage it.
I like the little cut to Sukuna in that moment as well.
Yeah.
Where you see Sukuna's domain, where it's just like, of course, bones everywhere.
Bones and blood and yeah.
Yeah. And you see the back of him and he turns around like over his shoulder like he's
noticed something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all we see of him. And I loved
cool.
that. I did love that so much. And then we obviously I think from there it's pretty like half of the course we start getting introduced back into loads of characters. We get to see Megumi shows up and he kind of has to like talk Yuji up because Yuji's still very, very self-depreciating. He doesn't feel like he can do any good anymore because of everything he's done. Megumi basically pleads with him to help him because his sister was one of the people whose basically curse got activated when Geto activated Idol Transfiguration, because we obviously learned at the end of the season that she was one of the pawns in his game. Yuji asks about Nobara, and obviously nothing's actually said. There's just reactions, but obviously you draw your conclusions from that. And then Choso shows back up, and Choso's like Choso's just being great, and he's like, I'm his brother, and like Yuji's like, he's not my brother. He asks Yuji asks Set tells Yuta that the only reason that he lost control in Shibuya was because he had been like force fed like 15 fingers at once. But he's like, there are only this many fingers left, so like I don't think that Sukuna would be able to take control if I got made to eat any more fingers. But if it does, please stop me. I know you can.
Yeah. I like that he asks Yuta that as well, because I guess part of the conversation was that Yuta obviously explains to Yuji that they share a lot more in common, like you said before, like how they both have these huge curses attached to them, how they both were saved by Gojo from execution and stuff. And he also talks about how Gojo was the one who said to him, if anything happens to him, Yuta would have to be the one to protect everyone. And then it cuts to Gojo visiting Yuta in Africa, which, by the way, it did that classic cinema. In case you didn't know where they are, here's a wide shot of some zebras.
Yes, some zebras and some giraffe in the distance. This is something that's like, yes, this is a city built on the Serengeti.
Yeah, just in case you're not quite sure where Yuta is at this point in time, here's some zebras.
Yeah. I do agree. I really liked that scene, especially because we get that parallel of like Yuta's on the left side of the frame, Yuji's on the right, the fire's in the middle, and he's basically saying this, like, we are both very similar in like our curses, but yours is a curse that was put upon you, whereas mine was one that I brought upon myself. And stuff, and there's like the parallels there, and I just thought that was really good, really nice. They talk about going back to Megumi's now there. He's like, the barrier's weaker at Jujutsu High. Come back, you just need to stay hidden. They go back to Jujutsu High. They go to the room where Yuji had faked his death before.
Yeah,
and obviously we've got Maki's there. What is the name? I can never... Yuki, is it Yuki? I can never remember her name, but we get the other special grade sorcerer, the blonde one with the jeans and the shikigami. I always forget her name. She's there as well, and she's laying low as well because she doesn't want to have to deal with the elders because she doesn't really agree with their way of things. She's just doing things the way she wants to. But they've made this plan that they need to speak to Tengen. Choso arrives and he's like, "Hey, the get into Tengen's really difficult, but I know that the vault is connected to Tengen's place, so I can sense my brothers in the vault, even if they're dead. So I can lead you to the door." They go to the vault. Choso has a touching moment with a door where he's like, "I'll come back for you, like my brothers." But probably arguably one of the lightest moments in the movie was just before they left and they're still in that room, and he basically Choso says that Choso arrives, everyone's like, who the hell is this? And Yuji basically very shyly says, I suppose for just now you could just say that he's my brother, and he's like, Yuji. It's like he's got very
Chozo comedies.
Yeah,
Chozo comedy
great.
is really good. Yeah,
He's got
really,
the same
really
sort of
good.
like comedic levity as like Todo, whereas like he's very serious all the time, and then he says something so unhinged and out of character, but it's like so in character for him. But moving back into it because I am conscious of time. That they do get to Tengen's vault. They pass through the area with all the shrines, and Yuji's like, why is there blood on the floor here? And then obviously everyone who's watching it is like, oh no, because that's where the Star Plasma vessel got murked by Toji. But they continue on into that big white space. Yuki's basically like, oh, Tengen obviously doesn't want to speak to us. I was a bit naive, but then in her head she's like, no, it's not that Tengen doesn't want to speak to us, he doesn't want to speak to me. So they go to leave, and then Tengen's like, where are you going? Like, where are you going? And everyone turns around and you see Tengen for the first time, and
yeah,
that's where the movie ended.
Yeah. So a few things I just wanted to touch on.
Yeah, please do.
The
I get a supercut.
The room, the room where they all meet up, like you said, is the hideaway that Yuji stayed in to watch movies. The movie room. So we get to see Maki for the first time since the Shibuya fight and stuff. Since she was burnt. Yeah, but there's no close-up shot of Maki. Everything is wide shot with Maki, which I thought was really interesting. So you see Yuta's reaction where he's like, Maki, you're here, how you doing, sort of thing, you're out of bed. You see Megumin's reaction as well. And there's even one cut where they're both on either side of the screen. The shot is Maki's in the middle, but you see it from her back. So Yuta's on over one side of the shoulder and Megumin's on the other, which I thought was really interesting. But again, they've done everything to avoid close-ups of Maki. So again, I'm kind of like, oh, are we saving so much of Maki so that later on that feels even more impactful?
Is that she's still obviously recovering because she's got an eye patch on. You can see that she's wearing an eye patch over one of her eyes. Yuki says that obviously I used reverse curse technique to heal her, but for the largest part, like her heavenly restriction, her body is like what has saved her because she's so resilient, but like the scarring won't go away. So I think you're right there. Like we wanna like really showcase Maki, like coming into the new season with exactly how badass she is.
But I feel like they're kind of tiptoeing around it at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll get full blown Maki, but later on and I guess rightly so, the focus isn't Maki right now. But I just thought it was a very interesting direction choice because you don't even see any detail of her face whatsoever, like you said, because of the bandage and stuff. So there was that. The other thing I noticed as well is, like you said, Chozo. We get to this tomb. They slightly play up to the inventory arc with the fight with Geto and Toji and stuff, which was pretty cool. And then we get to Tengen's tomb. Now, I have a theory about Tengen, and this is kind of interesting. So it depends if you watch sub and dub. So I'll try and break this down as simple as possible, and Sue, feel free to walk with me on this one. So we heard Tengen's voice early in the episode because the narrator who talks about Chozo's technique and such is that older woman's voice in the sub version. In the dub version, the narrator who always does the glazing of Gojo, where it talks about like Nabito is the fastest sorcerer except for Gojo, or the narrator that's who does the Toji inherited the Zenin clan's curse technique. All of the narration share the same voice actor with Tengen. So it makes me wonder, is Tengen the narrator? Is everything that we know from Tengen's point of view?
That's certainly interesting because we know that Tengen maintains the barriers around, like the strong barriers around the Jujutsu High locations, but there is also a barrier over Japan, like a lower key barrier. So yeah, I suppose that Tengen can actually see everything that's going on.
It also explains why Gojo gets glazed by the narrator, because Gege doesn't really like Gojo. So why would Gege glaze Gojo all the time?
I see the point you're making.
Yeah.
I see the point you're making.
It makes me wonder as well when we get the dub version if they will use the guy voice who does the whole.
I guess you'll see if your theory has any payout.
Yeah. Or if they will have the older lady voice.
Maybe. But that's more. That's it. That's what happens in execution. You know what? I just thought of something we glazed over real carelessly. Before Yuji regains consciousness before the bonfire, he sees a flashback of when he was a baby, and we obviously get to meet his dad. And we obviously, because Chozo had basically been speaking to Yuji and saying, your dad must have had, do you remember your dad? He must have had like scars along his forehead. This is the bit where...
Or stitches.
Yeah, stitches. This is the moment where people who only watch the anime would realize that like, Geto was Yuji's mum. Like the brain was piloting a woman. And as... I can't remember the name of the creator that I'm always seeing who makes this joke, was making this joke when the manga was still ongoing. But we go on to learn that Geto was taking back shots from Yuji's dad.
we can't say Geto because it's not really Geto, but
yeah, but
Kenjaku.
Yeah, it's Kenjaku. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's when we learn. Oh, actually, I think this is where people are starting to put together, because like there's several times where people have said there's something unique about Yuji that has made him like a good vessel for Sukuna. But this is when we start
perfect vessel.
Yeah, this is when we start to learn. Oh, Yuji was like an intentional thing. He was manufactured to achieve a certain goal. And that's where we start to, like, if you don't read the manga, this is where, I think for a lot of people, this is where the dots probably start connecting in a big way, because you're like, oh, he was involved, like Kenjaku was involved in Yuji. Like, so, and and obviously Yuji's grandpa knew all along she was trouble. He's like, that woman's bad news. Like, you gotta get that. And his dad's like, you can't say that. Even babies can remember such hurtful things being said about their mom.
Yeah. I think, doesn't his granddad say like she died?
Yeah. So
and the dad's like, that's why her being here is a miracle, or something along those lines.
I took it as that Yuji's dad had a previous wife or partner, and she died, but he obviously was desperate for a family, so he obviously started started someone else. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know the exact specifics of Yuji's family history. But I'm under the impression that like the reason that he's so suspicious is because Kaori, he says Kaori, doesn't he? Is
something like it definitely starts with a K.
Yeah, had died. But maybe you're right. Maybe I'm incorrect here. Maybe I'm not remembering right. And the reason why he's so suspicious is like, oh, she dies, but here she is. So
now she's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the whole Kinjaku's thing, right? Is that he can only take over
a dead body.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why like Gato being back is so shocking.
Itadori.
You fact checked in.
And yeah, I'm just double checking it. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So she was a. So she did. I'm not looking into it deeply here, but Kaori is the woman we see, and she was a Jujutsu sorcerer who had a gravity a curse technique. And obviously, yeah, following her death, her body gets taken over. So you are completely right there.
Okay.
So there we go. And she is the sole descendant of the Aishia clan. So,
What does that mean?
I'm just reading the facts here. Just reading the facts. Anywho, but that was execution, guys.
That's that into the Culling Games. Overall, undisputed, disputed.
Undisputed.
Where are we on the fence?
I'm pretty hyped about it. I obviously had a great time speaking to it with Kira on the drive home last night. This was her first instance of going to the big screen to see an anime anything. She had such a great time. I think that we're probably going to have to bring her along on anything we do now if she's interested. And she also touted like if Zane wants someone in to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm always happy to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. So
sounds like we'll need another microphone in the budget then.
We'll work something out.
We'll work something out. No, that's good. That's good to hear as well, because I really want more of these cinema experiences, even if they are like super cuts of episodes stitched together. Because, like, again, I'm more than happy to do that, and we've talked about that before in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that she had a great time as well. I loved this. I loved the build up to all the other curse users that we got to see super wide shots of.
Yeah, all of the cursed users who had been brought back through
Kenjaku.
I got to stop referring to him as Geto and start referring to him as Kenjaku. Start referring to him as Kenjaku as part of Kenjaku's machinations. Obviously, his whole thing was like he made deals in the past with all of these powerful sorcerers to basically bring them back in vessels, and we get to see these shots of them all just doing stuff,
enjoying life in their new time period. So yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting all these new characters. Hearing their voices for the first time will be really cool. One last thing that I've just remembered, Hikari got mentioned in a conversation between Gojo and Yuta in the little African scene.
I believe that what was said was, please look after all of your like classmates and my other students. Hikari will probably be okay. You probably don't need to worry about Hikari.
Which is exciting. Which is really exciting. Never bet against Hikari.
Never bet against Hikari. That boy's luck stat is so high.
So yeah, I'm really excited for the future. I really love the direction. I've got so much hair in my eye right now. It's annoying. Yeah, I'm really excited about the direction of this. I saw somewhere this week that the director for this also directed Super Crooks. They go by the name of Shota Gosh Ozono.
Yeah.
Terrible pronunciation. I'm so sorry, but you can find it all on Letterboxd. So at the time of recording as well, it's probably worth highlighting. These don't have many review scores. So on Letterboxd, it's currently sat at 3.6. On Rotten Tomatoes, there isn't a score attached to it, I guess, because it hasn't been released in the US yet.
And that's where anyone who matters lives.
Allegedly. And on IMDb, it's currently sat at 6.9. I think this will probably go up higher.
I think so.
I
mean, it's not its like own thing. It's not like an Infinity Castle, but like I think it was very good for what it was. Like I don't think it was. It deserves to be looked down on. I think that if it gets poor reviews, it's going to be from people who went into this expecting. Again, we've had this conversation before. It's going to be from people who went into it expecting it to be like something else, or went into it as a completely fresh like thing. And I can't recommend this to someone who's not at least watched like some of the anime.
Yeah, again, this isn't a JJK Zero. It's not a sole arc or story on its own. It is a transition story. Just to give you some comparisons as well, the hidden inventory arc was a 4.1 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and on IMDb, hidden inventory arc was a 7.9 out of 10 again on IMDb. So yeah, I think this will go up higher. Again, I think it was absolutely fantastic. Again, if you're a super fan, you probably won't want to miss this. And I don't know, I'm on the fence about watching it again in IMAX.
You should at least.
Should I maybe dub?
If you get the opportunity, like don't go out of your way, but if you get the opportunity to watch it, maybe. And like if you watch it in dub, you might be able to get your answer about the narrator.
Yeah.
So guess we'll see.
I have to tell you, this morning I had to rewatch that episode 39 like 6 times because I was like, male voice, female voice, narrator, like the curse of the Zenin clan. They bear witness to his raw flesh. So yeah, go back and watch it. It's phenomenal.
Peak cinema.
So that is the episode. If you love what we do, again, like, subscribe will help us out in a big bad way. If you're listening to this right now on your favorite podcast platform, give us a star rating. Let us know in the comments if you saw this, what you thought of it, and if you're doing Movember Escanor style. We should probably do a tier list on who's got the best mustache in JJK.
It's just in anime.
Oh yeah, why did I say JJK? I was thinking of the head of the Zenin clan. He's got that like really long one, hasn't he? Like a long mustache.
Yeah, we should do it. I think that might be a fun episode to do, like closer towards like Christmas. And just do like I think the news news cycle usually slows down a little bit, so maybe we do something about Christmas. So we'll do some games, do some tier lists.
Tier list, love it. Yeah, if you love the show, all that jazz, like, subscribe, star rating, comments. And yeah, we'll see you soon for Star Wars Visions. Have a good time. We'll see you soon.
Peace.